One day when I was out of school for the summer, I saw some boots on the shelf way up high in my dad's closet. I got the ladder like I wasn't supposed to and climbed up to get them. I wondered why they were so dusty. So I carried them to my dad and told him I found his old boots. I asked him why he never wore them. He didn't answer me. He took me outside on the porch and we sat on the steps. I just knew I was in trouble. He placed the boots one step below us and told me they belonged to my Uncle Brian and that he died before I was born, so I never met him. Dad picked up one of the boots and dusted it off a little and then said to me, "Those boots, he used them when he fought in the war." I didn't know what war he was talking about, so I picked up the other boot and dusted it off like he was doing. I told him that I had never been in a war. He just smiled. Then he said, "That's why he did it, son. So you wouldn't have to."
Happy Sunday, everybody. My name is Scott Mendenhall. We are so excited to be with you today. It's been a second because last week we were on a mission trip to Arkansas in the United States. If you're watching outside of the United States, it is Memorial Day weekend here in the States. This is where we honor those that gave their life while serving our military or serving in the armed forces. So we want to say thank you to all of those families that have members that gave their life for our freedom. We honor them. We're going to play a couple more videos today just in a way to say we remember. I know oftentimes this weekend is surrounded by picnics and kicking off a summer and all those things, but also for some of us, it's a remember of I lost somebody I loved, I cared for, and we are sorry for your loss. But we also don't want to forget that that sacrifice was made for our freedom. So thank you for joining with us. I am joined with my good friend Lily Arnold.
Hi, happy Sunday.
How you doing, Lil?
Great. Happy to be here.
Now it's interesting. This is your first Memorial Day going through it with somebody actually actively serving. Her husband serves in the Army at the moment. Does it change the day for you, or is it just like, no, I'm still just remembering?
Oh no, it definitely is very different. My life is different this weekend in many ways. Conversations and yeah, it just feels a little bit different in a good way. So
her husband is going to be playing the music this morning in our location here in Minnesota, which we'll get to right after this. As I said, we're going to switch topics. There's no ever easy way to switch, but we're going to talk about our mission trip that we were just on. We, as a church, went down to Arkansas to serve the Great Passion Play, which is on top of a hillside. It's the Ozark Mountains. Is that what they refer to?
Ozark Mountains, yeah.
Right? I always think mountains are like ice covered and snow covered on the top, but these are not. But they are quite large.
They're beautiful.
667 acres of great one-wheeling trails and my mountain bike trails. And we came and served that property by building things and making the property better. And then on the weekend, we went and helped serve in a one-wheel race. So we're going to talk all about that here in a second. But we can't forget my other good friend who's joining us all the way from Mississippi, Dwayne. How we doing today, Dwayne?
Good morning. I'm good.
You know, Dwayne, when you sit in that room, because I know that you're in your in-laws, I always know the weekend is like a holiday or the school's out for the weekend. That's the indicator. It's not a calendar for me. It's I plop in here on a Sunday, and there you are in a room where the walls are green. So, have you been there? Did you get there last night? What's the plan? You having a picnic?
Let's see. Yeah, so we started off the weekend Friday. We went to it's about 2 hours away with my family camping, which I slept in a truck like for the first time. Like it was not great camping experience.
Wait,
why?
Just you? Wait. Just you slept in the truck, or your whole family slept in the truck?
Well,
you can't just drop something like that and not explain it.
Yeah. Elizabeth, myself, and Marshall slept in the truck. We had it was massive like thunderstorms, rainings. Like yeah, we're not doing tents. So my dad has an enclosed trailer. So it's like, okay, we'll just hop in there with my sister and her family. It was 9 of us in this enclosed trailer, which is not conducive.
Is there breeze in there?
Really
Sounds hot.
So there's like a little small opening at the top, so that's where like the
Oh
fresh air comes
my
in. But
goodness.
it's like very
That
small.
sounds awful.
Yeah, so very hot, very hot.
No.
Like gets warm down here in the SIP. So yeah, very hot. So we got up at like 1 o'clock and it's like, yeah, I got to do something. On top of that, our mattress, like the air goes out of it. So like I wake up at 1 and I'm in a hole and Marshall's laying on top of me and I can't move. So it's like, okay.
So you didn't
I'm
sleep
going
that
to the
night.
truck, or I did not sleep that night. No. So I went and got in the truck and I got a little bit of sleep I could get.
Yeah, this is why people hear that story and they go, "I'm not camping." That sounds miserable. People are thinking. Really, what the people have moved to in this culture is glamping, where they call it camping, but it's really with all of the fine essentials for great living, like coffee makers and beds, not roughing it. You know, like what happened to the good old days, Lil, where you just went out, popped a tent up, and you slept on the ground?
I mean, yeah, they're far and few between now.
Lily tented.
I like to rough it camp, but I want to like be in the mood for it.
But
'Cause
you-
I also like to glamp. I
But
like
you
both.
you tented in your own backyard a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
we did.
You just set up a tent. No,
We
did
did.
you
It
have
was
an air mattress
freezing.
or cots? Or
No,
what
we had
was-
an air mattress.
Yeah, that's borderline glamping.
Yeah.
If you're not waking
mean,
up
if
and
I-
going, the earth was digging me in my kidneys,
I'll
then
even
they're
have like
glamping.
a blow up sleeping pad. But people even who rough it have sleeping pads.
Yeah, those are, but that's packable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things that I think that you can throw in your book bag is totally to go with. But write in the chat if you're a glamper or a camper. I'm a camper. I like camping. I like smelling like the fire. I want to cook in the fire, not myself, but my food. I'm a camper, not a glamper. But, you know, I got no problems if somebody's going to glamp and want to invite me either. But I'm just saying, I feel like we've switched a few things where it used to be when you went camping, you knew what that meant. Now when someone says they went camping, well, I slept in my truck. That's what I'm trying to say you're doing. I went camping, but then I end up in my truck. That's all right. Well done. I got to make sure you're in the cab of the truck. You don't have like some big colossal truck, right? You're in some little like just the front seat of a truck.
I am. Yep.
That's a whole nother category. That's miserable. That's not even camping or glamping. I don't even know what word I'm looking for, but that's miserable. Absolutely miserable.
Yeah. It was so we couldn't run down the window because you have bugs and it's raining, so it's like yeah.
So all kinds of
Crack the window.
moisture is on your glass on the end. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no thanks.
I'm sorry for
Muggy
your
is a great.
I'm sorry for your experience. It's a memory. You know, think about it. If it went all good, you would never remember it. Marshall wouldn't remember, but you'll be able to tell the story. And remember when we were camping and we slept in the front of the car. Well, that's exciting. It's like Lily when you camped. You at 3 a.m. you were woken up by your neighbor yelling, right?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. I like being in the seclusion where you can't even hear a car. But you got to travel to get to those places when you live in the suburbs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, when you live in the suburbs, your noises aren't bears and raccoons. It's crazy neighbors. Okay. Today we're in our Hope series. Hopefully you enjoyed last week, a little bit of throwback. If you missed it, we dropped a video of me riding my bike talking about discipline. Jacob, who is in the studio with us, he's been down here on our property helping us get ready for Last One Understanding. He said that's one of his favorite teachings he's heard. I'm not, like, it's good, but he always tells me the next one is his favorite. So I don't know what one actually is his favorite, or they just keep getting better. I'm not sure. Or he's just a really good, kind man. But go check that out. We are in a Hope series where we're talking about hope. And today we're going to talk about hope is contagious, how to spread hope to others. And so we want to talk about that. You see Colin's, my father-in-law's name in the chat. If you're watching live today, he's talking. He is Holly, my wife, and him and others are in the hospital down in Peoria, Illinois. He had an emergency brain surgery on Friday to remove another tumor. And the cool thing is, now it sounds bad, and it was a little precarious, a little just kind of, what are you doing? What's going on? Got it a year ago, same surgery happened. And yesterday, I think the report came back when they took the MRI that there's only gray matter showing up in the MRI, no white stuff. White stuff's bad. And it seems like they got all of the bad stuff, left all the good stuff, and that's an answer to prayer because that was an unlikely scenario. So we're excited about that. We're excited that God showed up through the hands of a surgeon, but also the ability to get everything out of there. So if you would continue to pray for Collins as he heals up and hopefully he recovers faster than a year ago. But when we're talking about hope, that's what we've been praying for, right? If for Collins is hopeful prayers of God show up and show off. We know you can, but will you kind of stuff. And it's us talking about hope and praying for hope and believing God's got a plan, and we don't understand all those plans. And so today we're going to lean in about a little bit of that and hopefully understand that you are a hope dealer. That's what we're going to really respond. We're going to give you 3 things we're going to talk about. Hope dealer, faith spreader, love giver. Okay, those are the 3 things that we should be about. That's what we're about on this channel. We want to be people that spread hope, not bad or pessimistic or negative. We want to give hope because we know where our true hope should lie. 2, we want to be faith spreaders, and that's what we did on the mission trip. That, hey, our faith is not in our abilities and skills and talents, but in Jesus Christ alone. And then the last piece is love giver, that we give away love. It's what we give. You don't have to do anything for us to love. Why do we do that? Because Jesus first loved us. It wasn't we did something. And so there's the overview of today. And I hope that you're excited about listening and hearing and going to be inspired by the stories. And hopefully you have your stories you're going to drop in the chat today. If you're brand new and not subscribed to this YouTube channel, give us subscribe so you know when things are going to drop. We're going to drop a video midweek this week about the hope of the church. We showed that live last week. So if you aren't subscribed or have bell notifications turned on, you're going to miss a good one. It's Holly and I talking about how the church is the hope. It's carrying the hope of Jesus with it. So subscribe. Stay tuned for that. So we're talking about Hope Dealer. But before we do that, let's get to the missions trip. Okay, we're going to play a video really quick from the students' perspective. It was primarily, am I wrong on this, though? Did we have almost more students, like middle school, high schoolers, counting like my kids and stuff? Right? We almost had more.
Adults?
Yeah, almost.
We had 9 students. I know the number.
Then we did not.
Okay.
Because I think we were approaching 30.
Okay.
So, no, we had a lot, though. A lot of young people. A lot of young people's first mission trips. So what we've done is put together from the perspective of high schoolers, what did they think of the mission trip? Some of them came towards the end, like on Thursday, and so they didn't get the upfront stuff. And some were there the whole week. So pay attention to the stories. We got pictures that is going to tell the story of how we were hope dealers, faith spreaders, and love givers all in one week. This is your church. If you call this home, this is what your church did last week. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago? I don't know. A long time ago. We did this. And so be proud of your church that we are doing a great work. Check this video out. We'll be right back to talk more about the mission trip. Enjoy.
The mission trip was so much fun. It was really cool to see God move in a lot of people's life. And it was really cool for me to get to chat about Jesus with a couple of people. And overall, it was just really fun. Racing was fun to see Harley get on a one wheel for the first time. It was just so much fun to be there. And you guys should definitely come next year.
I wasn't supposed to go on the mission trip at all. I was not even signed up Sunday. And I walked into Kids Church knowing I'm not going on this mission trip. I know I want to go, but I'm just not going to be able to go. And then I text Lily, and I'm like, Lily, I know this is super last minute, but can I go on the mission trip? And she's like, yes. And so like there was just so many things that were just yeses. And like even to the fact, like I didn't have a jersey because I was last minute. And Legend walks in one day with a jersey, and he's like, this is my extra jersey. It should fit you just fine. And he hands it to me, and it fits me. And I'm like, it was meant to be that I was supposed to go on it. I just saw like God like give me all these things, like saying this was the right decision to be here.
My favorite part of this mission trip is whenever we got there and I was working. I had a few people walk up to me and say, why are you here? And I got to say, what I learned from Scott is that we are here to serve others before we serve ourselves.
What I learned is to be bold with words, like to mention the word of God more, just to point them to Jesus and stuff like that.
When the first Tracers meeting started and Scott had to do the thing because Nick was gone, and then we ended up praying after. I saw a lot of people bow their heads that probably usually wouldn't bow their heads.
The mission trip was so much fun. I got to learn so much things, like how to be fat, which is flexible, available, teachable. And I got to have so many conversations with a couple of my friends. I got to talk about Jesus with them, and God gave me so many ways to do that.
Honestly, this was an incredible group to be a part of, and they moved so fast when the situations changed. When someone got hurt, people were running out, collecting themselves, but like getting to where they needed to be to help the person that needed the help. We were always moving to serve other people, and it was honestly incredible to see how fast and efficiently we worked to get stuff done and to help people with their situations.
I saw God move we had a pizza night on Saturday night, and it was really cool that we just got to be able to speak Jesus to a bunch of unchurched people.
You know, I've had this like kind of chant in my head. God, give us the strength. God, give us the power. Please let us soon go shower. So that was our chant, and that's how we made it up the hill and finished all of our tasks. And so I feel like without God, we wouldn't have been able to do that all, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay, that's awesome. I never heard that chant. I just asked Lily. That chant came about on the last day?
Yeah,
or next to last?
Late in the week, yeah.
That's a great chant, though.
Yeah.
It was a little hot and sticky down there.
Yes,
at times.
It was.
But what a great trip. I don't even know where to start because I watch all of that. I mean, we did great work. This team has always been told by those at the Great Passion Play that we're the hardest working missions trip or missions team. I don't think they just say that because we've seen the other missions teams. We get stuff done, like from every talent that everyone has and possesses, and some of it might just be, I can pull another weed. Yes, I can lift another one of those Brutus blocks. Whatever it is, we're just there. I think some of the things that make us more efficient would be that we're riding around on one wheel. So when somebody says go get something, we're zipping right to it versus walking. Because when they tell you to go get a shovel, it's a journey. I don't know. It's like. It's got to be quarter mile, if not further, to get to that. So if you had to walk, that'd take forever. But we're zipping with one wheels. Even where you saw the wheelbarrows going with one wheels because we had to move dirt. It was just, we were very efficient, got a lot done. So on the working side, did amazing job. Building another retaining wall with a bench. Dan was there, sun up, sun down, doing that. Jacob, you saw him in one of the pieces of equipment down there, working so hard. He was everywhere with that machinery, taking it up and down the mountain top. We did pull a few weeds. We planted some plants. We did a ton of stuff. Am I forgetting anything from the first part of the week, Lil? I mean, there's so much, right?
Yeah, there's so much. And apart from the work that we did, we were able to build relationships with each other and the people who work at Passion Play. And so you could just tell I really love getting to work alongside the people that work there because those of us who come get to see it's not just me who serves at my church or this organization. People are doing this everywhere, all for the sake of Jesus. And that's one of my favorite parts of the mission trip is getting to connect with other people who are followers of Jesus.
Well, yeah, it's good. There's a lot of encouragement to get from those that work there at the Great Passion Play and then us to them. So it's such a great week. One of the highlights is that we keep talking about this play. They do a reenactment of the biblical Jesus story. And we've never seen it, so I can't speak to if it's like out of the world, state of the art, but it seems like they're getting there. It seems really impressive, okay? You should go there, Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and check it out. But they do this moment where they use a sling and throw rocks and stuff, and I was like, well, I've never seen a sling from like the days of David. And so this guy named Kent goes, oh, I can do this. And so he takes it aside, and I'm expecting, Lily, a little bit of like, meh, meh, meh.
You were?
Yeah. Like,
I don't remember what I was expecting, but with knowing Kent, I knew it wasn't going to be lame.
But I wasn't expecting awesome either. Like, I just didn't. Yeah. I'm not expecting bad.
Yeah.
But I just was like, okay, it's going to be this sling thing. And okay, so he gets out there, he picks up this rock. He goes, you see that tree? It's about 50 yards away. I was like, uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And then he just, like, whips this thing around so fast you hear it go whistle. And then, bam, hits.
You hear the hit on the tree.
And the rock breaks. Awesome. I was like, holy crap, no wonder why Goliath died.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it changed the entire story for me. I was like, Goliath's an idiot. Why would you ever even why would you stand up against, I get it, as a kid. You should go read the story if you don't know the David and Goliath story. But David, who is a little middle schooler rolling up on a giant, all he has is a sling, picks up a couple rocks. I'd have ran. I just watched that rock come off there. I was like, that's impressive. So that was wow. And we had so many other things. And so that was the first half. Then Dwayne and family shows up on Friday. Dwayne, you drove through the night, right? And napped 3 hours. And then you show up and you get straight to practice for the race, right?
We do, yeah.
Did you sleep in your car or your van then? Like, so let me get this right. I'm answering my own question. You have 2 times in a week span-ish, you slept in your car. Is there something you need to tell us? You guys sell your house? What's the deal? You live in your car now?
Yeah. It's been a long week. It's been a long week.
Okay. So you roll in. Let me ask this. I hear, in the students telling of the story of Dirt Surfers Week, what was going through your mind when you heard Nick, who, for everyone watching, he is the guy that runs the race. Like, it's his race, him and his wife. And you hear he's injured. What was some of your immediate thoughts going through your mind when you heard all of that?
Hey, it's okay. Hey, let's go. Like, the show must go on. Like, I know, like, we've got this. Like, it was never a doubt. It's like, okay, Scott's running things. Okay, how can I position myself to be around Scott to where whenever something needs to be done, like, I can overhear it and I can take care of it. So, I just think that's the bot. Like, that's who we are as Unlock. Is we are very flexible. We're very
I think
available.
Yeah, and let me guess, teachable. Just to put it in, that's the fat. That's the fat thing that we talk about. Yeah, I mean, we are. We don't just tell that on mission trips. Like, for those watching, you heard the students talk about fat. It's not something we just use as a cliche. It's actually what we try to be as a church and an organization. And so Nick goes down. He has to go to the hospital, and now the race is going to happen. And it's like, I don't even really process it. Oh crap. It was just like, let's get to work. There was no time for oh crap moments. It's like, nope, we got to get going on. Where are we at in the time frame? What do we need to push to adjust the whole schedule? You got 250 some people racing, and now it's on us as a team to make sure we execute. And our team executed. We had no idea we were going to do this. We were going to be behind the scenes, really, in some bright jerseys, but we were going to be behind the scenes just supporting, and all of a sudden we were thrust into the front, and we did the racers meeting, got the thing off, had the chance to pray over the entire race in front of I think they said there was close to 500 people on the property, so 500 people at the racers meeting, listed all the rules and stuff, and I kick it off with prayer, which was pretty cool to do. We get through the race, and I think one of the highlights for me for sure, that amazing team jumping all over the place. Lily's jumping in and out of races or sending racers off, right, Lil?
Yep.
How was that experience?
It was great. I've never done that before. So normally at these races, we still race and we film, and we're making sure that we're bringing home content to show all of you. But because things just got switched around, I was at stage 1. So I saw every single racer start their race, and I had to make sure they were all going at an appropriate time to make sure to give room on the trails. And so it was crazy, but I loved it.
Yeah, you were the first trail of the day.
Yeah, I saw every single racer begin.
So she did that, had injuries, we'd have to pause the race, and we'd have to evac somebody out, and so it just became, it was a lot of juggling of things, a lot of decisions need to be made quickly, and our team just arose. You knew we were at the right place at the right time. We then invited everyone to come to a pizza dinner at night. I think we got some pictures of this, as you can roll some through so people get some ideas of what took place. We invited everyone to a pizza dinner at night. So this is a room that is, you could just, it's not even the full room. It's just one side of the room, packed with people getting to come inside to air conditioning. We played our YouTube videos back there, and then the team literally served pizza. As somebody puts their hand in the air, we served them pizza. Tell us what you want. Oh, you need a refill? We were waiters and waitresses. But we stood on a table. This is Nick coming back from his surgery. He's coming, or not surgery, I'm sorry. He comes back with the report that it's broken and stuff. We can move past that, Ledge. We don't need the audio of that as well. You can keep putting pictures up, though. But in that room, we're serving, but we got a chance to answer the question we get asked all the time, Lil, which is what? What's one of the number one questions people ask us at these events and races?
Well, they're like, why are you here?
Why are
you
you
doing this?
Why do you do that? And so I stood on a table, and I said, I'm going to answer the question for all of you really quick. Why do we do what we do? Because we paid to be there, right, as a group. And I said, Jesus came to not be served, but to serve others. And we want to be like Jesus. We're modeling our life like Jesus. So that's why we're here. We look for an opportunity to serve others, to not be served. And you just heard some people go, wow, that's a little unexpected. They didn't expect that. And then we invited them to be part of Unlocked Church on Sunday. So if any of you heard that invitation invite and you're here, thanks for joining us. We really want to spread the good news about who Jesus is. He can come in and make your life better and make you better at life. It's just true when we fully give our lives to. And so what an opportunity to talk about Jesus in front of so many people that probably have never heard about Jesus before. It was cool. It was like, I just felt like we were part of something like when you read through the scriptures about Paul and his travels and he shows up and he just preaches the gospel. I felt like that's what we did. The conversation, Lily's been asked to help marry somebody from the One Wheel community, right?
Yeah, I've never done that before, so they need some training.
They were trying to figure out, like they asked me, like I can't give all this, but they were asking me to walk the bride down the aisle. It's kind of wild, right?
It was like an elopement style. So it would be like elopement style. So it would be like us and them. That was what they were talking about.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
What do we got to do to
Would
help
be
people?
cool.
And so, it's so good. It was just good. We could keep going on, but we will bore all of you that weren't there. I understand hearing the stories sometimes aren't as exciting as we remember them.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, was it good. You could tell that our church was in the right place at the right time. Dwayne, any closing thoughts on the missions trip?
Hey, Dwayne.
Dwayne is sideways, everyone. Did you fall over, Dwayne? Should we call the paramedics?
Yeah. The thing I love, kind of like the highlight for me, is like we had the conversation, like it was our girls, it was our kids' first mission trip. So we kind of explained to them, walking them up, okay, hey, this is what it means. This is why we're here. This is what we're doing. And just to see them kind of step in, and they were like I don't think I heard a single complaint from the girls all weekend. They were there. They did what they were told. They served with a willing heart. So it was really cool to see that. But just to see, like, if you've never gotten a chance to kind of like Lily does a great job with our young people, the next generation. If you haven't ever gotten to see them kind of pour into other people, like you're missing out. Like we left and we were talking about that the whole way home. It's like we miss being around our unlocked family because we know that our kids get poured into by teenagers, and we know that the teenagers are getting poured into by the 20-something-year-olds and then the 30-something-year-olds, and it's like, it's a great depiction of what church should look like, how to mentor people, and it's like, we have great families. Lily does a great job with our young people, but that was definitely one of our highlights, just kind of seeing how the young people really stepped up and really kind of poured into everyone.
Ooh. How do you feel about that, Lil? Feel
Great.
Good? Yeah,
that's
well
the goal.
done.
That's the goal.
Well done. We're totally going to splice that up, Dwayne, and put it everywhere because that's too good to not. Thank you. We'll send some money to just as a gift of your kind words. I'm just messing. That's a joke, everyone. But I think you're right. Like, it was cool to watch all your kids. I think this is such a fun mission trip to take your whole family on.
Yeah.
And now it changes dynamics. Jacob and Melanie brought their kids, and it definitely changes the dynamics because now you have your kids that you're like, okay, I've got to watch my kids, and I've got to make sure they're safe and get my job done, and they slow things down sometimes. But all of the young people, high school, middle school, and then the elementary and like 4-year-olds, which was like revolution, killed it. I mean, we brought them all home at least, so it's good. Mission trip was spectacular. Thank you for those who are praying and stuff. I hope you're proud of your church. God really did something really cool. So let's transition a little bit. We're going to get to the topic right after this video. We want to do Glorious Day. This is a song that hopefully will just allow us to kind of shift a little bit, get our eyes, if the mission trip didn't get your eyes back on Jesus, I mean, we're missing it, I guess, because we read through book of Acts, chapter like 13 through 16. Those are the first two big journeys, mission trips Paul takes. And we read through those every night on the mission trip because we are trying to teach, hey, what we're doing today at Dirt Servers and the Great Passion Play, it's modeled after what Paul did. And he came into cities and made a big difference. And I believe we did that at Eureka Springs. And then we sent so many people back to their states, hopefully with just an idea of who Jesus is by watching what we did and the words we shared. So let's hum along, sing along. Let's get our hearts right. Maybe you had a long week. Maybe you weren't on the mission trip. You're like, I just need a moment. Glorious day. Hopefully they'll give you that moment just to calm yourself down. And we'll be right back after this. Enjoy this song.
I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my tomb till I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave. My soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. The old made new. Jesus, when I met you, you called my name, and I ran out of that grave. I needed rescue, my sin was heavy. The chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan, but you called me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you are my healing. Your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open, 'cause when you called my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness.
Okay, if that doesn't get you amped to listen to that, I mean, seriously, rewind that whole episode or that moment and listen to it and listen to the song. Especially those that are hopping in the chat, get that PC. We haven't seen your name in a while, and then to hear you've got hit by a car. Wow. Glad that it's only minor things like broken ribs. It could be way worse. And also to hear that the Woodhams come from the mission trip. Their well isn't working and isn't working again. Been there, done that. Don't want to get on that train again. So sorry to hear that you guys are walking through some of that stuff. Let's just pray really quick, just over everybody that's here this Sunday, that God would show up in a big way, that we'd have peace in the storms, we'd have peace in those moments in life that are just like with a question mark. Why do I have to go through this? What are you up to? Let's pray. Jesus, we come to you right now, and as we just are hearing stories of people going through things in their lives right now, Woodhams in Florida with no water, we just ask that you'd intervene in that situation and get them water, that it would be a fix that would be very easy and very little on the cost. And as they connect with people to fix that, may they remember that they are light in the darkness, that oftentimes these things are used to connect people, and may we leverage those moments. And to hear the report of Get That PC getting hit, we ask that continue to recovery, that there wouldn't be any lasting aches and pains. And then we pray for Collins as he is hoping to get released today, that everything goes right and he gets out well, and his recovery continues to be expedited so that he can get back to doing the things he wants to do. Give energy to those around him that are up in the night with him and stuff, that they would be able to continue to help. Jesus, we are grateful as a church to come together and talk about the things you did a week ago in Arkansas. May we never forget. Jesus, we love you in your name. Amen.
Amen.
A lot going on, Lil and Dwayne. Lots going on. And that's why we love the Hope series, is because in those moments we can oftentimes lose focus on our hope, which reminds me, we have camp coming up, and we're talking about keep your eyes fixed on the things unseen, not the things seen, for the things seen are temporary and the things unseen last forever. That's our main verse for our Unlock Summer Camp, which we got a slide for you. Check this out. We would love you to sign up now, June 24th through 28th. 2024 Unlock Summer Camp. It's such a fun time, but the main thing, we're going to try to teach young people to fix their eyes on Jesus, despite the circumstances in their life, their well going out, or their basement, or their I should finish my thoughts. Basement's flooding, or sleeping in a truck, or your car going back in the shop as Lily seems to go in and out, in and out. It can't decide what it wants to do, but all our cars keep getting sick and have to go see somebody. And so all those things can get our eyes on the things seen and not the things unseen. And so camp, we're going to try to teach that this coming weekend. And the reason Jacob took some time off work to come help us get our trails done, because we're going to film the curriculum video, our last one when they're standing here out on our property this coming weekend for that camp. The video is going to be great. I have a feeling we're going to challenge the young people to ride every hour on the hour. They have to start riding at least, I think, 4 miles. We're going to finish the setup of all of this by Tuesday, but they have to ride 4 miles, and after 4 miles they can charge, and then they're going to have to do it again at the o'clock. Whoever's the last one standing wins. If they don't get there at the starting line at the o'clock, they're disqualified. Or run out of battery, disqualified. It's just the way it goes. So last one was standing. Hopefully we'll be able to use that curriculum to do our Unlock Summer Camp. But what happens a lot of times when we lose focus, we also lose our hope. When we start fixing our eyes on all this crazy stuff that life throws at you from, I'll use my own personal experience, and Lily can and Dwayne can at any point. But, you hear that my father-in-law, who very, very close with, love that man. He's been in my life since 5th grade. He was my leader through elementary school for an organization inside the church. I spent all the time at his house. Holly and I grew up together. So I've known him forever. He's really spoke life into me. And so when you hear the report, that he's got to go have this brain surgery, we found out while we were on the mission trip, you can easily get your eyes off of the main thing, focused on that, and your hope, when that happens, starts to deflate, starts to leak. So if you're running low on your hope, you got to look at what you're fixing your eyes on. Because if you have your eyes fixed on all the wrong things, it will deplete your hope. I said it a couple weeks ago. Hope is like a helium balloon with a little pinhole in it. It's just leaking out. If you don't constantly fill it up, you're going to end up with a deflated balloon. We have to keep our eyes fixed on those things. You need people in your lives who are going to continue to inspire you, to keep your eyes fixed on it. It's like I remember 5 years ago, or maybe even more recent, it used to be when your car had problems, you were down in the dumps. Life was not so good, right? And now you roll through it. You got 2 cars going in the shop, and you're like, what's the difference?
I mean, I'm trying to grow up my faith every time I can, but I also think it's knowing that I have people around me who are always going to take care of me, and that's been proven. Like the Adams are watching today. You guys have you've always answered the call, and it's just like every time it happens, it's like, I know we're going to be taken care of. It might not always be by the same family, and it might not mean that we'll have a vehicle to sustain us in between, but yeah, it's just been proven. So my hope keeps getting bigger because it's been proven, and that's what Jesus does. That's what so many people struggle with. They don't think it's proven, but it is. Like, I've been listening to this song that says, you had angels at your fingertips and you stayed on the cross. And it's like, he proved that he was going to stick to what he said he would do, and he didn't have to. He had it way better where he was. And so my hope is in that for sure.
I think some of the life circumstances that we have, and people come in, as Lily's is saying, people coming in to help along the process. It's like Jacob and his family coming and helping us do some of the things around here on our property. That's God nudging the hearts of those people. Like, that is people seeing needs and meeting needs. Oftentimes our prayers are answered through other people because God is a God that's so genius at what he does, is that if there's someone that's in need, he moves another person to be selfless, to be able to step in and go, I can fill that need. And when that happens, then God is showing up and showing off in the person that had the need. Their need is met through that individual. And then God's showing up and showing off in the individual that just moved because they are doing the very thing that Jesus did, came to serve and not be served. But our human nature can get really in there, and as we're serving, we can go, well, I'm not getting honored, and then we kind of twist it, and our eyes get off the main thing. When we serve, we should always keep our eyes fixed on the things unseen, not the things seen. And when we are being served, we should go, this is the hands and feet of Jesus through that individual. That's why it's so important for us to do life around people. That's why it's so important to show up to church. You know how many times people are praying throughout the week, oh, I need help with this situation. And you're the answer to the prayer, but you didn't show up to church, so they're got to wait a whole nother week. And if you'd have just got your butt to church, I'm just saying. It's just a thing. It's a real thing. So at the end of the day, if all you hear today, get your butt to church. Make sure you log in. You know, it's a way to meet needs. And maybe you have a simple solution for what's going on in the well in Tampa, Florida, and you're the solution today. God's like, I'm going to do this thing. It's going to be really cool. Watch how the church works. It's going to be really cool. And maybe we'll just have our eyes fixed on there. I wrote in my notes that the big bold letter in my notes is, hope is contagious. Dwayne, when was the last time in the news we heard about contagious things? Is that a dark period in your life?
No, not dark period. No, not at all. Like we love that time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when we got to meet a lot of the people that we still interact with, today.
Yeah.
During that time. So, no, definitely not a dark time, but yeah, it definitely makes you go back.
Yeah, you used the word contagious. It didn't mean anything before. You know, like people would say flu's contagious. No big deal. It's cool we got that. But all of a sudden, in the year we cannot mention, 4 years ago, it has 2 2s in it and 2 zeros. Just so you know, you're tracking with me.
But
right?
It's not 991.
No, because I didn't say anything about a 9 or a 1. Thank you, Legend,
But
for
you
putting that
used
in text.
numbers, yeah.
I use numbers. It's confusing. So that year, all of a sudden, headlines were, oh, COVID is so contagious. You got to have 6 foot distance, all these kind of the world went crazy. It's still gone crazy. You know, like everybody's like, I just want to go back to normal. I just like to wave my hand that what we were doing before that year was not cool either. So, like, I'd like to have a new normal, like, where people love each other. Like, especially political year here in the United States, that we're just, like, we can handle this. Somebody has an opposing thought. I don't know. That's crazy. We got 10 people in my house. We all have opposing thoughts. And trust me. Like, I'm not a sweet guy, but the kids, all of a sudden, they all think that they should get a dessert every night. Like, we worked real hard. I
Might
was
have
like,
been an influence over that one.
I was like,
and there's desserts, isn't there? There's
Yeah.
dessert here.
Yeah,
so
there's dessert
when
here.
There's dessert here. it's
so everybody's
available.
got to have it. So 10 o'clock last night, everybody showered up. They're having desserts before bed.
That's awesome.
No, it's
I had
fail.
dessert before bed last night.
No, I didn't. I did not.
You don't like dessert, so why do
No,
you? It's not like you're more.
See, that's not that.
You don't eat it.
You diminish a strength of mine that I can say no to all that stuff. Get it out of here.
Well,
see,
you don't seem to like it.
No, I like ice cream sandwiches, tasty. But at 10 o'clock at night, nah.
Tasty.
Not a good. Okay, so hope is contagious. Let's get back to it. Hope is contagious, meaning it can be spread. That's the crazy bit, is that why do I always choose to be more upbeat and excited? Because I understand that if I'm upbeat, let's say 80%, that means the people that are around me are going to be around 60%, hopefully, or at least a little bit better than they were. But if I come in Debbie Downer, you know what I do? I bring the whole room down. And then so hope is contagious. So if you're looking around going, man, there's no hope, you're the answer. You got to look at the bright side. You got to be able to take it to the next level. And we need to talk about it in a way that it is contagious. You got to understand. You got to come to the realization that hope is contagious. Perhaps, here's this issue. Perhaps the only thing that is more contagious than hope is the opposite of hope, which is fear. So if we spread fear in the negative side of failure, which is failure is a version, Lil, of fear. I'm not going to succeed. What we're doing is bringing people down. And so you got these options. There's not like this middle ground. You're either a hope dealer or you're dealing fear. And the results of living in fear, it sucks. I mean, it just does. You're limiting your potential. You're limiting other people's potential. You're eliminating what God could possibly do in the moment. Think about back to David and the Goliath. If David had looked and go, oh, that's a giant, man. He's like almost 11 feet tall or something like that. 10 feet tall. Like, I can't beat that guy. I'm a tweener. I'm not even a teenager yet. I'm the youngest in my deal here. And like, all I got is a sling. He's got this sword. But David didn't do that. He was a hope dealer. He's like, no, you come against my God. Well, here's my sling. And bam, hits the giant right in the head and boom. Some of you got to understand the giants you're facing in your life, the things you're up against. You got to just understand you're David with the sling, and you got to have some hope that you're going to be more than a conqueror. Not because of your ability, but it's who's in you is greater than who you are. That's where the confidence comes from. That's where the hope comes from, is that God in me is greater than myself. That my ability to be positive is great, but it's in conjunction. Is that the right word? In conjunction? Yeah. Coming together with God makes it even better. So we're not just hope dealers to be like hope dealers, like, oh, let's spread like sunshine and raisins and Care Bears and cotton balls. And no. We're spreading the hope of Jesus Christ, knowing that everyone else and everything else in this world is spreading fear. Everything. Lil, you got your iPhone over there? Let's run a test. You don't. Okay, I got mine. I'm going to run my... Actually, Dwayne, we'll go, Dwayne, because we're not in Mississippi. Dwayne, you got your... Oh, you're using your phone.
Oh, my gosh. I can use mine.
Unbelievable. We don't want you to fall sideways. So let me just pull up my weather app. This is an experiment. Okay, I alerts. On my stinking weather app, I have this red banner, alerts. I'm looking outside currently. There is nothing indicating that it's dangerous.
For?
Yeah, exactly.
High wind?
What would that be? Oh, it's dangerous commuting between 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. today.
For what?
Exactly. Let's click more information. Nothing. I click it and there's nothing in there. It's just a banner, because you know why? They want me to open up their app so they get paid, so I'm in there seeing their ads. But the fear makes us click these things. People in the year we cannot mention, they learned something about human nature that they used against us, that we are driven by fear more than anything else in the world. We're moved by fear. If we can get people fearful, we'll move in a direction as a herd. Oh, you can't go outside today. Pollen's really high.
You can't eat that.
You can't eat that. There's too much humidity out there. You'll melt. You can't go outside. The list just goes on of like, an alert about my driving on a Sunday. It's just
a Sunday.
Yeah, like there's no traffic. No one's ever heard of traffic in a city. Like, not ridiculous. Nonetheless, it's fear. We are looking to spread fear. Not me. I shouldn't say that. The apps are looking to spread fear because fear is contagious. And as long as people can continue to spread fear, people's hope will diminish. So my question to you watching, are you a hope dealer? Wherever you sit. You know, Collins is either falling asleep while watching this, but I know Holly's in the hospital. Are they hope dealers in the hospital? The nurses that are coming in, are they spreading hope to those nurses? Because those nurses, man, they got to be there for like 12 hours. I don't know about you, but boy, you think about that. Think about this, little, okay? We as human beings, when we are healthy, don't want to be in a hospital at all, okay? Even when we're sick, we don't want to be in a hospital. Think about the people that work in these places that have to show up.
I know it.
They don't want to be there either.
Nope.
But so somebody needs to be there spreading hope. And so sometimes the circumstances that happen in our lives might be very ugly and messy and complicated, but sometimes it's God moving us to be a hope dealer. Sometimes it's moving us to get around the right people to do some things. It's the hope dealer that we need to become in those moments instead of getting our eyes off of the prize, off of the unseen things. Somebody needs to hear this today. And inside us being hope dealers, you have no idea what God will do for that individual and for yourself. So, I hope today you understand that you are a carrier of either fear or a carrier of hope. You're carrying something. I hope you're choosing to carry something people want to catch. They want to catch what you have. I want to read in 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 2. This is a book that Paul wrote. Let me read it. 1 Thessalonians, we have it on the screen. Here we go. We always thank God for all of you and continually mention you in our prayers. We remember before our God and Father your work produced by faith, your labor prompted by love, and in your endurance inspired by hope in our Lord Jesus. This is where we get this hope spreader. Faith spreader, love giver, hope dealer is right here. This is the verse. I'll read it again. Look for these three words. You're looking for faith, hope, and love. We always thank God for all of you and continually mention you in prayer. We remember before our God and Father your work produced by faith, your labor prompted by love, and your endurance inspired by hope in our Lord Jesus Christ. What did we just learn? What does hope produce, Lily?
Endurance.
Okay. Dwayne, what is endurance?
I was like, did I read that right?
Yeah. It's test time. Dwayne, what is endurance? The ability to
continue.
To continue. Yeah, not to quit.
Yes.
So how do you manage getting through the dark times in life, the tragedy, the stuff that you just feel like you can't do? Is you got to have a tank full of hope. Mm-hmm. Not fake hope. Not, it's going to be okay tomorrow. But if you're not changing anything, if your hope's not transferring into Jesus, then no good. Because listen, when we read what Paul's saying here, we remember before our God and Father your work produced by faith. Faith is, I know you can, will you? So we know you can show up, you can heal, you can do all these things, but will you? Your labor prompted by love, so we moved by love. I'm going to serve, not because I've been served first. I'm going to love, not because I was loved first or they did something. I'm going to love unconditionally. And your endurance inspired by hope in the Lord Jesus Christ. So here's a question for all of us to ponder in this. Think of your faithful works that you've done, your loving deeds you've done, and enduring hope. What's your answer? How have you spread faith to people? How have you given love? And how have you dealt out hope? Not in your lifetime. I'm going to condense it down into the last 24 hours. Because these should be things we're doing 24 hours a day. This isn't, I did that 5 years ago. I went on a mission trip, so I'm good. I met my quota for the year. This isn't a quota deal. This is a daily deal. That we would be faith spreaders, love givers, and hope dealers 24/7. 24/7. Not missing a day. So here's the question you got to ask. Why did they have faith, love, and hope? And it's because of Jesus. It's because of what Jesus did. He died on a cross and didn't stay dead. He rose again. And we don't have time to unpack like how to make that where if you're on the fence, is that real? Just do research. I promise you, if you do good research, you'll see the answers and we can help around here. First Thessalonians 1 verse 5 now continues. For when we brought you the good news, that's the news of Jesus Christ, it was not only with words but also power. We brought you good news. That the good news, this story, this real life story of Jesus isn't just a story of like Star Wars, Star Trek, Harry Potter, made up stories that entertain us. This is not a story like this. This is true life events that impacted the entire world. After all, every time you tell me what year it is, you're pointing to the Messiah. Our calendar, our world calendar, is built on the foundation of the good news. That doesn't do something for you. Okay, so let's paint this. So like let's imagine this. We'll use Colin's situation, or maybe you know somebody that's got cancer. My dad had just wrapped up his cancer treatments as well. So imagine if somebody announced that we have a treatment for cancer, like we can cure it. All cancers, do this. We now know how to prevent it. Do you not think that good news would spread? Would you not talk about it? See, we are evangelism, or what's the word? We're evangelistic.
Evangelizing?
Yeah, we evangelize all the time. Thank you. That works, Lil. We evangelize on all topics. It's somehow, Lily, and Dwayne, we are convinced that we can't talk about Jesus. But we'll tell everybody, oh my goodness, have you tried this supplement? It makes your eyelashes so long. Oh, you got to get this shampoo. It'll make your hair so thick. Oh, have you not had these new shoes? I was like walking on clouds. What's your new running shoes you got?
On clouds.
The on clouds.
Good job.
Yeah, look at that.
That's the whole.
That's the whole point.
That's the bit.
That's the bit. But like we tell everybody you're missing out. Yet we don't do that with the good news. We don't do it when it comes to these three things because we're afraid I might offend someone. Well, then if you're going to offend somebody with the good news, you're doing it wrong. Because good news is good news and people want to hear the good news. So you're like, I don't know, I'm not a pastor. Listen, we were on that mission trip. People were having to have these conversations. So imagine if you would tell everybody, imagine you have a way for people to not have to struggle through life as much. We're still going to have opposition and go through things. Having a relationship with Jesus does not give us an exemption of going through things. Collins is a good example in this, in his family, and is that he's a follower of Jesus, sold out, meaning everything he has and is for the kingdom, yet he's got to go through some things. So the good news, I wrote it like this. Telling somebody about the good news doesn't just heal a physical sickness. It cures spiritual sickness. And I think that's the biggest thing is we look at culture, the world right now. It's a bunch of people that are spiritually sick. Yeah, there are people physically sick and we pray for healing. Was it Thursday night, Wednesday night? My family, all of our 8 kids, Holly and I, and Jay and his family, we have a total of 15 kids. We all piled up into a little living room of Janet and Collins's, and we sang 4 or 5 worship songs. We prayed over Collins. We had a mini church service. Bunch of kids. Kids ministry was booming.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Ratio was way off the scale, adult to kids. We had a couple dogs in there as well. And we're just singing and crying and we're praying over him. Why? Because we're hoping for the healing of the physical sickness. That there would be a cure. But we also knew, may we walk through this with hope. Because fear is rampant. And if we don't check fear, it will take over like poison ivy does. Or weeds. See, I wrote it like this. Jesus didn't come just for the healthy. He came for the sick. Jesus didn't just come for the righteous. He came for the sinners. He came for all of the above. It's yes and yes. It's both. Our God didn't just shout his love from heaven either and go, hey, I love all of you. He showed it on earth. Saved by grace, you and I are, through faith. That's some good news, and we're spreading. That we have a God that said, the best illustration I always use, Lily and Dwayne, is God pretty much had it made, He lives in heaven, can call all the shots. He pretty much said, okay, I'm going to send my only son into earth. And that's equivalent of you and I just like getting on the high dive and jumping into a pool full of poop. I'm just trying to paint the illustration for you so you get the perspective. You're giving us something awesome, and you're just like, there's a pool of poop, I'm going to jump in it. Because the earth is pretty cool, but it's nothing compared to heaven. And Jesus said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna either cannonball myself into that pool of poop and go and save and rescue some people. But I'm going to have to get stinky. I'm going to have to get dirty. Yeah, here, you and I, we want to be able to make some post on Instagram or social media and go, oh, I did my part. Woo, that was easy. But we're afraid to get dirty for the kingdom. We're afraid to be that hope dealer. Let's go 1 Thessalonians 1 through, or now, same thing where we've been, 1 Thessalonians, now we're going to verse 8. The Lord's message rang out from you, not only to Macedonia, in another place. Your faith in God has become known everywhere. Therefore, we do not need to say anything about it. He's like, you guys have been hope dealers. This is crazy. Faith spreaders and love givers. You guys are doing it so much so that we know about it all over the place. People are talking about it. They did such a great job of spreading hope and giving love and or dealing hope and being a faith spreader that the world, in their world, their context, and you know what? They didn't have social media, Lil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They put leather sandals on and walked on dirty roads and talked about the good news.
Yeah, they would be like, you have the ability to share something to thousands of people at one time and you're not using it? That's what they would say.
Yeah, there's some truth to this. That's good.
We should be using those things to spread the good news.
Yeah, it's like this. This is a story in Matthew chapter 9 where Jesus did something wild, which he does all the time. We just aren't reading it anymore. You got to look for him in your own life. It's one thing to read this story in Matthew chapter 9. You're reading it like a book. You're like, oh, I can digest that, and that's pretty cool. And then you look around your everyday life. You're like, well, where's God working? You have to ask to have the eyes to see where he's showing up and showing off because he's actively in your life, especially your follower of Jesus. You can see him. You just haven't taken time to slow down to see him. You're moving so fast, it's all a blur. And so here's a story in Matthew chapter 9. When Jesus entered the synagogue leader's house and saw the noisy crowd and people playing pipes, he said, go away. The girl's not dead, but asleep. But they laughed at him. After the crowd had been put outside, he went in, took the girl by the hand, and she got up. So this is a story. You should read the whole thing. We don't have time all of it. But here's Jesus coming into somebody that's saying, hey, this child is dead. And they're playing on the music. And he's like, no, she's not dead. I'm about to do something. I'm about to change the narrative. I'm about to change the story. No matter what the headline says of all fear driven and it's bad, 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 bad. Jesus is like, hold on, listen. I'm about to turn this thing into something real good here. It's going to be a story you want to talk about. It's going to be some good news happening. You're going to be a hope dealer because what I'm going to do. Those that are on the mission trip, you should be dealing a lot of hope over this last week because you were just on a mission trip. You saw God do some crazy stuff. 250 people coming in that didn't know Jesus, got Jesus a little bit of the good news and some pizza, and you got to serve them. You got to build some things that are going to allow people to come and experience the gospel in a different way. You were dealing some hope. You should better be telling people. Not, oh yeah, it was hot and sticky and there were a lot of ticks. And that's cool to tell those parts of the story, and there were, but you better be spreading some hope. You better be dealing some hope to some people. Hey, no, there's some good people in this world. I'm part of that. And Jesus comes in and this girl gets up. You don't think people are talking about Jesus? How about Mark chapter 1, verse 28? News about him spread quickly over the whole region of Galilee. Mark is reporting that, hey, this is spreading. The hope is spreading. It's taking off like wildfire. Acts chapter 6, listen to this. This is later on. Jesus is now in heaven. Acts chapter 6, verse 7. So the word of God spread. The numbers of disciples in Jerusalem increased rapidly. I'm just reading things, the account of the story of Jesus. We're standing on the shoulders of men and women that were dealing some hope. When you say the word hope dealer, I was thinking a bit of a drug dealer as well. You know, I got what you want. Like, are you watching people at work struggle? And you're like, I'm just keeping my head down. I'm going to do my thing. Or are you looking, oh, they're struggling, I can step in, I'm going to deal some hope to this person. How can I come in, spread some hope, the good news, but also come in and be the hands and feet of Jesus, give a little love to him. Hey, I can help you with that project. I'll get mine done. We'll tackle this so it's a little bit stress-free. And all of a sudden you just start seeing their life change. So why did the good news spread? Why did the message of Jesus spread all the way to 2024? The faithful work, the loving deeds, and enduring hope. Remember what we read before? Right at the beginning when Paul wrote what he wrote, the whole basis of this idea of being a hope dealer, faith spreader, love giver. We always thank God for all of you. So Paul is saying, I think about you constantly. When I'm praying to God, which we all should be praying, I thank God constantly and mention you in prayer. Don't you want to be that kind of person somebody's praying for? Lily's nodding her head, right? You want people praying for you because of, man, when they remember you, you've done good things.
Well, yeah, and I want to be the person that is praying that prayer too about others. So it's both.
Yeah, you want it is both. Yeah. It isn't just one or the other. It's both. You want to be being the hope dealer, faith spreader, and love giver that people recognize. Wow, there's a person doing it. Not perfect. We all mess around here. Jake has been working on the trails with us. Last night I was telling the story of I'm going to try to paint this picture. None of you, unless you've done this, will know anything what I'm talking about, because I'm not going to call this stuff right. Jake gets on me all the time. I call stuff tractors when they're not tractors. Nonetheless, I'm using the machine that tamps down gravel. Okay, it's like bam, 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 bam. It's loud, super loud. Okay, and I'm just running it through the trails. Epic. He is using a hose to keep the gravel wet because you can't tap it dry, and he's tamping. And then Inspire is trying to wrestle a 200-foot hose, trying to keep the hose from getting underneath the tamper, because if you tamp the hose is no good. We already did it once, and we had to go buy a new hose. So we're running through the woods, and I'm just yelling, because you got to yell over this machine at my kids. I'm like, what are you doing with your life? Do you even know what you're doing right now? Move! Get the hose! Can you not see it? You know, I'm doing all this kind of stuff. And so at dinner last night, Jay was like, I heard some yelling down there. I was like, yeah. I was yelling at my kids. I was like, how can they not see the hose laying in front of where I'm going? I was losing my mind down there. So I use that story as like, we don't get it right all the time. I didn't say anything mean to them. I was yelling at them, but it was required. But we're messy. So the goal is both, to be hope dealers in a way that we're going to spread hope, but also that we do it in such a way that people remember us, as Paul's remembering this group of people, the Thessalonians. And then he goes, we remember before our God and Father your work. So now he's talking about what kind of these group of Thessalonians. This kind of makes me think of Unlocked Church, Lil and Dwayne, as they were talking about a Great Passion Play. Kent and the team down there talking about this church is so unique. And I just said, you know, we're a little church with mighty, mighty intentions. We're going to get after what God's called us to do. And so Paul's remembering this church. He goes, I remember before God and Father your work produced by faith, knowing that God's going to show up in some capacity. He might show up the way you think or might not. You're going to work out on faith. I know he can, but will he? You're going to labor prompted by love, that there's no strings attached, that just this group of people didn't have some agenda to get personal gains. It was, how can I help and love on other people? And your endurance inspired by hope in the Lord Jesus Christ. That this group of people obviously had their back up against the wall at different times. They struggled at times, but their faith didn't waver because of their hope. No, God's going to show up in some capacity. There's going to be a story here. I don't know. It might be I have to walk all the way through this tragedy, all the way to the end, and lose some things and lose a relationship. But that's just, hey, my hope is God's still got a plan, that it works all things together, the good, the bad, and in between, that he's going to work it all together, and I'm just along for the ride along it. Not that we're little puppets, but that he's got a plan for us. And when you got your back up against the wall and you're wanting to freak out and lose your mind, God's got a plan. What are you up to, God? May I see where you're showing up and showing off? May I be encouraged? May I inspire other people? And we walk through those things when we're transparent, vulnerable, when people can see who we really are. You know what happens? And they see us leaning on our faith and hope dealing and stuff. They see that stuff that inspires them. Oh man, if they're going through that stuff and they can still smile and they can see excitement in their life, man, they must really believe the good news. Look what the good news did in their life. Because I got a friend over here who doesn't know Jesus, and when they get their back up against the wall, they hit the clubs. They get a one night stand thing going on. Oh, they pop some pills. They take some of it. They do it. No, this person, I got to pray about it. God's going to do something. He's sovereign. Oh, which one do you want? The other one, it might medicate yourself out of the situation for about 24 hours, but we wake up the next day and it's a whole lot more complicated now because you slept with somebody, you yelled at somebody, you did something you don't even know what you did, and here's a picture of people showing, wow, my life just got more complicated. Does that seem wise? But when we put our faith and hope and love in Jesus Christ, you know what happens? We don't have all that regret tied to it. We have this wonder. What's God going to do? How's he going to show up and show off? Lily has been faithful with her car. She puts them into the shop, and you've been wondering sometimes, like, how's this going to play out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How are we going to have the money?
I thought I was going to have to learn how to drive stick and drive a vehicle that is available. But yeah.
But you would have, right?
But it's wondering, okay, in all of this, how is God going to show up and show off? And you should be leaning in on your toes, knowing that he will. It just might not be the way you thought or the way you want. But when you are like staying in the nitty gritty just to see how he does, you'll have an answer either way, no matter how. And then that's that hope. There's an extra dose right there. So he's good to provide.
It's a bit of your story, Dwayne, right? Like you're entering the chapter in your life as a teacher. You're going to go into the unknown. You're going to go into the deep to start something. You don't know how it's going to play out. There can be a lot of fear wrapped up into this situation. But the key here is for your life. I'm speaking for you and give it to you. But you're like, no, I feel like God's leading me this direction. And people are probably asking you all kinds of questions. Your family probably going, well, how's that going to work out? I don't know. I'm just moving in a direction I know God's leading me to, so I'm going to do it. And on my way, I'm going to be a hope dealer, faith spreader, and a love giver. That's all I know. I'm just going to do that. And while I'm doing that, God's going to teach me, lead me some things. And it doesn't mean this whole next journey of your life's going to work out. We hope it does, and we pray that it does. But if it doesn't, God's still King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He got a plan. He's sovereign. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean...
Yeah.
So
I think,
there you go.
Yeah, it's like I think when people hear the faith, the hope spreaders, the hope dealers, the faith spreaders, it's like, for so long it seems like that's that's the pastor, that's the preachers that get up and they speak. It's like no, like it's just when all of that happened in Thessalonians, it's like these people were just being faithful for like what was going on and giving like God the glory of like, hey, did you hear what's going on? Like this is what God's did. Like that's how we become this hope dealer is like we just share with what the experiences we have. Hey, this is what God's done in my life in the past, and I know this is what He's going to do in the future. So it's like we don't have to have all the words correct, and we don't have to be high energy people. Like Scott, you're an amazing communicator. We don't have to be amazing communicators to be these hope dealers. It's like we just have to give God let people know what God's doing in our life and be faithful with that. So
yeah, I love that. It's again back to that. We need to be vulnerable. I don't think you need to go on social media and blast, bad day, cars in the shop. You're not getting that from Lily. That's weird. If you're that kind of social media poster that you're just posting all the bad stuff, stop doing that. People read that and go, it's weird. People don't even know what to do with that. It's like, do I reach out and pray for them? Like, because you're just being Debbie Downer. Like, you're not spreading hope at all. And I'm not telling you to be fake, but to your closest people that are close to you, you got to get vulnerable and transparent. Because God didn't say, hey, go into your house and hide all your personal life. Go into your house and hide everything, fake it, like you got it all together. No, God's like, be transparent. He actually calls us to go and shine bright. Shine. Like, here's how you shine, and we've used this illustration a bunch. The moon has no actual light on it. It's the gravel, the rock that's on it. It's a reflective material that bounces the sun right off of it, and we see it. It's amazing when you look at it and how bright it is. What was it? 2 nights ago, somebody in our church was asking to borrow our one wheels because they wanted to go on a moonlight ride lit by the moon, and it's just the sun showing up at night. And we're supposed to be the moon as we do life. We need to be shining Jesus as we do life. We're bouncing and reflecting the principles of Jesus. We're hope dealers, faith spreaders, and love givers. That's who we should be. But when we don't do those things, guess what we do? We diminish the light. We're not shining bright because now we're being selfish and we're being gross, actually. These are the things we need to be working on, is to be selfless. Put other people first, other people's needs. You're like, but what if I need food as well? You know what? You're going to probably be all right. You're going to be all right. Maybe you got to reach out to somebody. Hey, I need something as well. Reach out. Stop just like staying quiet. God put you in a community to say, hey, I'm raising my hand. I need a little bit of help. Look at why you need a little help. Is this a circumstance that like is uncontrollable? Or is this because you've been unwise? Still raise your hand, hey, I was unwise. I got myself in a pickle. And then fix things so you don't get yourself back in a pickle, because it's always hard when people start going, wait, this is unwise living. This is why you constantly get here. And so it's like, okay, help you once, help you twice. Third time, you got to sort out your crap. So some of you just got to look at, am I causing this? Or is this a caused by an effect of some super nature thing or whatever, right? But raise your hand. Raise your hand. I want you to type this in the chat. I want you to say it out loud, especially if you call yourself a follower of Jesus. I am a faith spreader, love giver, hope dealer. I am a faith spreader, love giver, hope dealer. Write that in the chat. I know I keep switching the order of it all. We got to deal with that. I don't know why I do. I don't think there's a real order to the whole thing. There probably is, but here's what I do know, like about Dwayne. I've done life with Dwayne a lot, and with Lily. When I get close to them, I catch whatever they got. I just do. Fear's contagious. Hope is contagious. I'm not talking about when Lily comes in with a cold. Rarely do I catch those colds. You ever notice that? My immune system must be stout.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
that was me faking
that. Was weird.
But right, like you will roll in if you're coming in the morning, Lil, with a bad attitude, right? Doesn't the room change? Or if I come in,
yeah, totally,
because it's contagious.
Mm-hmm.
So we're spreading something all the time. Here we go. John 13. We're going to end it here. John 13:35. This is Jesus talking. This is not new. You're looking for some deep new thing. Hey guys, I found something on a mission trip no one's ever talked about in the Bible. No, you know this, but this is just a reminder. A new command I give you: love one another as I have loved you. So he's trying to tell you that this. We hear, oh yeah, I love everyone. I want good for you. He's going, no, not just love, not Hallmark kind of love, not Valentine's kind of love. A love like I loved. I gave my life for you. Therefore, what are we to do? Dwayne, what should we do? If Jesus gave his life for us, we are to love other people in what way?
Give our life for them.
Whew! That's a toughie. That's a toughie. There's a lot of pushback on that. I got family to feed. I've got this, and we got all the... I understand it. You can't outgive God with your time, with your money. None of it. If you're praying for God to show up and show up off in your life financially, let's say, are you generous with your resources? Are you giving $5 to somebody when you see they need? Are you just buying their drink, not on a credit card, but like, hey, I got $5. Oh, here you go. Or are you just hoarding it? We are faith spreaders, love givers, hope dealers. So he says, love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another, he goes on. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. How do we shine bright? By loving one another. Are you sharing your opinion about why another human being sucks? Not spreading faith, not being a love giver, and not being a hope dealer. You sit there and talk negative about somebody. I don't like it when they do this. You are not loving one another, because that person hears you go, well, that's what Bob down the road here does, and he doesn't go to church. And you go to church, and you're just going to bombard talking about that group of people. Oh, they always do that. That kind of person. You got to stop. That's not what a love giver is. Mm. I am not hoping that everything goes back to normal. I keep still hearing that 4 years after. I hope everything goes back to normal. I talked about it. What was normal before all this was just selfishness, and now we're even worse. I hope things go back to Jesus principles. So we land it here. What is Jesus saying to you, and what are you going to do about it? Faith is contagious. Hope is contagious. Love is contagious. Hate. Did I say hate is contagious?
No.
Fear.
Hope.
Worry is contagious. Hope, right? Like you see it. The opposite of these things are contagious. Which one are you carrying? Faithful work, loving deeds, enduring hope, faith spreaders, love givers, and hope dealers. Can you say that about yourself? Lily, will you pray for us today?
Let's do it. Jesus, thank you so much that you are the start, the genesis of faith giver, love. What is it again? I get it mixed up. Faith spreader, love giver, hope dealer. That's what you are. And you set the precedence for us to do the same. So God, I just pray that as we go into our weeks and have opportunities to be hope, to be love, and to share faith, that we will take them, that we won't get nervous and in the nerves, that you'll just provide the words to say, the love to share, the hope to give, whether that's through generosity or through our time, or through really being bold with the gospel, with the good news, Lord. May we just take the opportunities and knowing that as we do that, someone's hope tank gets filled and ours does too. So we're just so grateful for this word. Thank you for just the opportunity to remember the lives lost, whether they were serving in the military or through the effects of that. God, I just pray for those who are mourning today, who are remembering lives today. May we remember well. And always, always, always speak highly of that. Jesus, we absolutely love you. Thank you for everyone watching today. Help us as we go into our weeks. Continue to be the love and the hope and the faith dealers that we need to be. In your name I pray, amen.
Amen. Dwayne, as Lily prays there, and she goes, I can't remember these. It makes me feel like I just failed as a communicator.
No, I get tongue-tied. No, I've heard this for so long, I just get tongue-tied. Faith spreader, love giver, hope dealer.
You just read it off my notes.
Yeah, no, I read it in the chat. Thank you for those who wrote it.
I'm just giving you a hard time. I don't even get it right, Lily.
Faith spreader, love giver, hope dealer. Faith spreader, love giver, hope dealer.
Is that how we memorize?
Faith spreader, yeah.
Okay.
Spreader, giver, dealer.
Okay.
Spreader, giver, dealer.
There you
Faith,
go.
Hope, love. No, I said it wrong. Faith, love, hope. Whatever. I'm done.
Oh, man. Okay. Hey, thank you for hanging with us today. We want to make sure everybody gets a chance to give your resources. Dwayne, how can they do that, and why do we do this?
Yeah, so you can text the word unlock to 77977, and it'll walk you through it, or you can go to unlockchurch.com. And we simply do this as a practical way of showing that, hey, this is where our hope comes from. Our God is going to provide for us, and we can't outgive God, like Scott said earlier. So it's like, hey, you know what, God, I trust in you. You're where my hope comes from. So I'm going to be obedient and do what you have asked me to do what you've told me to do, and yeah, like that's it. Like it's doesn't make any sense in a worldly perspective, but when you start giving and you start seeing God show up and God provide for you, that's going to build up that hope, that faith, because you see God does provide.
Well said, Dwayne. I thank everyone that give resources to Unlock Church. There's a lot happening around here. Honestly, when I was reading the First Thessalonians stuff, I was just like, wow, that's a version of what Kent and the team was saying down there about Unlock Church. So that's the kind of place we want to be, is continue to see needs, meet needs, and spread hope. So thank you for everybody hanging with us today. Dwayne, have a great rest of your Memorial Day weekend. It's been so much fun to see you, catch up with you. Hopefully tonight you're not sleeping in the front of your truck. If you need some help, let us know. We'll. That's it.
Something bad has happened if that's the case.
Yeah. Okay. And you're not a social media guy. You don't post much, so I don't get to follow those things. So hopefully you stay dry and enjoy your family. And then everyone that does picnics or whatever in the United States, have a great and safe one. We do thank everyone that has someone in their family that lost somebody. We thank you for allowing them to serve or how they got in there. Thank you. We're going to end with another Memorial Day video. We won't come back after this. We're just going to end a little bit different today, just in a way to make sure people understand we are grateful for the lives given for our freedom here in the United States. And we don't take it lightly here, as I have family members that have served from World War II and Vietnam. And so we're grateful for those men and women that have served. So we're going to do a video that's called Memorial Day Unknown Soldier. If you've ever been to Washington, D.C. and got to see the changing of the guard for the unknown soldier tomb, it's really special. Never seen it. You need to go see it. It just gives you chills. It's wild because there's a guard always guarding that. And then the way they transition the guard out is crazy. And so watch this, and we'll see you next week, everyone. Make sure you subscribe and turn your bell notification, because we will be dropping a new video this week about the hope of the church that you'll get to see. It's a 15-minute-ish video, okay? Enjoy it, everybody. Have a great week. Happy Memorial Day.
My fellow Americans, Memorial Day is a day of ceremonies and speeches. Throughout America today, we honor the dead of our wars. We recall their valor and their sacrifices. We remember they gave their lives so that others might live. The unknown soldier who has returned to us today and whom we lay to rest is symbolic of all our missing sons. About him, we may well wonder, as others have. Did he marry? Did he have children? Did he look expectantly to return to a bride? We'll never know the answers to these questions about his life. We do know, though, why he died. He saw the horrors of war, but bravely faced them, certain his own cause and his country's cause was a noble one, that he was fighting for human dignity, for free men everywhere. Let us, if we must, debate the lessons learned at some other time. Today, we simply say with pride, thank you, dear son. May God cradle you in his loving arms.